right now.
And a good morning to you. It is Monday. It is December 18th.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you had a nice weekend. I know the weather worked out in the afternoon, but yeah, this morning nice and chilly.
It was beautiful this weekend. As promised, Mike Osterhage, how's our week before Christmas shaping up?
Well, today feels just like Christmas, and that's not going to last very long. Let's put it that way, because we do have a lot of warmer air coming on in here. I was looking at that graphic over my shoulder. Take a look right now. 43 degrees out there at the airport right now, and 36 is the dew point. So we can still drop down a few more notches. We've got a little bit of a breeze out there as of right now. Wind is out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour, and temperatures around the area, we are down to freezing at Bulverde, 38 Comfort, 36 in Kerrville. Like I said, we'll drop down a couple of more notches here and there. There is a little bit of a breeze in places, and so we do have a slight bit of a wind chill. I think that's an erroneous reading out there in Helotes at 50, but 39 is the wind chill here in town, and not many places have that much of a wind chill, but that's why it is. We've got the colder temperatures, because when there's no wind, doesn't keep the air stirred up, and so the heavier, colder air settles down to the surface. Big warm up, just like the past couple of days. Cold start this morning. Need a coat. Won't need it by this afternoon. Now tomorrow, cold start again, but we are going to have some clouds move in overnight, and then basically cloudy skies throughout the day, and we will still be, though, in the upper 60s, so close to a normal start, low 40s, and then slightly above normal. Then it all changes. We have milder mornings coming on in here because more humidity is going to be working its way in here Wednesday. Couple of showers are possible. Probably the day with the best chance of rain is going to be on Friday, but we'll still keep some warm conditions and a couple of showers around here all the way into the weekend, and it looks like on Christmas Day as well. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. RJ Marquez is behind the wheel this morning with the Traffic Authority. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, good morning, Mike. Good morning to everyone out there checking us out to start your work week. Now, just want to let you guys know, obviously, a lot of schools are out on their holiday break, so going to see a little bit less traffic on our roadways throughout the rest of the week. But if you are headed out to work, we'll kind of get you through everything you need to know. Loop 410 Perrin Vital, things looking pretty good out there. You see not very many people on the roads right now. 410 Ray Ellison, same situation there. We do have looks like a police vehicle there that may be actually pulling someone over. 281 at the quarry, traffic moving pretty smooth in this area as well. As we take a look at our maps right now, you can see that there's not much going on throughout the entire city of San Antonio. Saw a little bit of activity there on I-10 on the east side, but that is cleared out. Do want to let you know we still have obviously some backups going on here on the northeast side over by Live Oak. This is Topper Wine right there past 1604 and 35 there at the Forum. So again, just our ongoing sort of traffic issues that we've seen there in the past when it comes to the construction taking place there. I-10 Vance Jackson traffic moving pretty good there as well. We will give you more of these updates when they become available to us, but things looking pretty good out there right now. Mark, in 70.
Thank you, RJ. This morning, a child sexual predator is on the loose right now after escaping the Clemens unit in Brazoria, about an hour south of Houston. 39-year-old Robert Yancey Jr. was last seen yesterday afternoon. Texas Department of Criminal Justice officials haven't clarified how Yancey was able to escape, but they do know he was wearing a black beanie and sweater and was driving a white Nissan Versa. Here's the license plate of that Versa, DNR 9145. It's important to note that officials believe Yancey is no longer in Brazoria County. If you see him, do not approach him. Instead, call 911 immediately.
Reina Elizondo was 22 years old and expecting her first child when her life changed after she was hit by an alleged drunk driver.
She suffered many injuries, including a brain injury, and her baby was born with disabilities due to the trauma she sustained.
Now she's sharing her survival story with Erica Hernandez and her message to anybody thinking about getting behind the wheel this holiday season.
I don't remember a lot of stuff now. I'm having problems with my vision. I can't focus and I see blurry. I have headaches a lot.
Reina Elizondo doesn't remember January 31st of this year. She was passing through near the intersection of Nogalitos and Zarzamora when she was struck by an alleged drunk driver. At the time, 10 weeks pregnant, she was rushed to BAMC where she would spend 3 months recovering from multiple injuries.
6 or 7 rib fractures, 9 dental fractures, broken leg, broken hand, 6-inch laceration to the left side of her head. She also had lacerations to her kidney, liver, spleen.
Despite the trauma, she was able to carry her baby almost full term, but her baby girl wasn't expected to survive because of numerous disabilities. 5 months later, and she is now what Reina calls her miracle baby.
She wasn't expected to survive. You're looking at a miracle. Both of them are miracles.
Reina is still recovering and is going through many physical therapies. Her life forever changed. Her and her mother want anybody thinking about getting behind the wheel after drinking to please think twice.
Not to drink and drive, get an Uber or ride share or Lyft or ask somebody to pick you up.
I never thought this was gonna hit home when it did.
And for the person who is alleged to have caused the accident,
But I forgive you, and Jesus loves you, and he forgives you too.
That alleged drunk driver, Mark Walton, was arrested and charged with intoxication, assault, and failure to stop and render aid. His next court date is scheduled for February of next year. If he is found guilty, he faces up to 20 years in prison. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Now to late breaking news, San Antonio fire crews on the scene of a fire.
Katrina Weber is live in the 2500 block of Schley Avenue with more.
Well, good morning. We're waiting to get an update from the firefighters here, but they're quite busy here at the scene. You can see they're still working in and around this house here. It's a single-family house that has gone up in flames, and lots of smoke still coming out of that. It looks like they have most of the fire knocked down. We also saw them spraying water on the carport and the house next door, so it looks like maybe those have some exposure. What I initially heard firefighters talking about was the fire in the carport and also involving the vehicle, but we got here and this house looks to be gutted. We do see some people standing around, huddling together as though they have just come out of this house. We haven't heard anything about anyone still being inside other than the fire crews that you can obviously see there. So we will hope to get with the battalion chief once they're not so busy and get an update as to what happened and what may have started this fire. But it does appear that the family at least made it out safely. Their house, though, has quite a bit of damage that we see here. Reporting live on the southeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. And you overnight, CNN is reporting that the federal government is fining Southwest Airlines $140 million for last year's historic 10-day long holiday meltdown that stranded more than 2 million travelers. Now, nearly 17,000 flights were affected. Those flights made up nearly half of Southwest's flights scheduled during the busy holiday travel period. Southwest said it was pleased to reach the settlement and that it is committed to delivering the highest quality of customer service. Now, Southwest has already paid $600 million in refunds and reimbursements to passengers.
Meanwhile, many living along the eastern seaboard are under flood and wind alerts as a storm system that inundated the south is moving north. The National Weather Service has issued a flood watch across more than a dozen states, affecting about 60 million people. The storm is also causing some flight delays along with hazardous driving conditions just ahead of the busy holiday travel season. And speaking of delays, let's take a look at the FlightAware.com misery map. And you see the biggest problems are in New York City right now at LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark. Boston and Washington Reagan National are also seeing some delays and a few cancellations.
Customs and Border Protection is temporarily closing another crossing point from Mexico to the U.S. in order to process migrants. Now, starting this morning, international railway traffic into El Paso will be suspended. Crossings in Eagle Pass, San Diego, and the entire Lukeville, Arizona port of entry remain closed. It comes as Senate negotiators wrapped another evening of border negotiations last night. They worked for about 3 hours, but so far there are no major updates on the state of negotiations.
It was the Tony Parker Hall of Fame game at the Frost Bank Center yesterday. His retired number 9 now has the words Hall of Fame on the bottom of the banner. That ceremony took place at halftime of the Spurs-Pelicans matchup. Spurs looked okay early behind Wemby. Spurs scored the first 6 points of the game, but the Pelicans would take the lead for good, and they never looked back, leading the Spurs by as many as 27 points. Final score, Pelicans win big, 146-110. Ouch. San Antonio is now 4-21 on the season. So here's the Spurs schedule for the rest of the week. All away games. Tomorrow they're at the Bucks, Thursday, they travel to Chicago. Spurs back in Texas on Saturday to face the Dallas Mavericks.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
Dallas Cowboys went into Buffalo looking to build off their 5-game win streak, but once again they fell flat on the road. James Cook had a career-best 179 yards rushing and scored twice as Buffalo dominated on the ground, and the Bills beat Dallas 31-10. Josh Allen threw for 94 yards for the Bills. The Cowboys clinched their third playoff berth before kickoff thanks to other results around the league, but nothing else went right for Dallas Sunday. The boys are 10-4, but 3-4 on the road this season. Tennessee Titans wearing their Houston Oilers throwbacks for their game with the Houston Texans yesterday, and that upset some fans. Texans took a step toward possibly ending their playoff drought under first-year coach DeMeco Ryans. With 3 minutes left in the game, Texans tied it up, sending the game to overtime, tied at 16. Less than a minute left in overtime, Texans running back Devin Singletary breaks through the line and appears to have a 43-yard walk-off touchdown run, but John Mechie was called for offensive holding, nullifying that score. But have no fear, Texans kicking unit is here. 4 plays later, Kaimi Fairbairn's attempt is good from 54 yards out. There it goes, and Texans get their walk-off win as time expires. Big hugs all around. Congratulations, DeMeco and the Texans. Houston now 8-6, and they eliminate Tennessee from playoff contention.
Okay, Houston did okay, but Cowboys.
Yeah, oh man, that was a tough game for Dallas.
Yes, it was. I was not expecting that. Time now, 5:11 and 46 degrees for now.
Ahead on GMSA, when Blue Origin is expected live stream its first launch in over a year.
Also up next, a first look at the 3 incredibly rare twin pregnancies where a trio of moms face the same incredibly rare and risky condition.
And outside with live cam looking over towards the airport right now, we're going to keep track of any cancellations or delays all week long in the big travel buildup to Christmas. You're watching GMSA.
Welcome back. It's 5:15. Well, 3 women in North Carolina are sharing their one-of-a-kind friendship after they experienced a rare condition while carrying twins. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has the details in today's GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, 3 incredibly rare twin pregnancies.
No one never said that they had mono twins. I was the only one.
The doctors and nurses at Atrium Health Cabarrus helping a trio of moms facing the same incredibly rare and risky condition, a monoamniotic twin pregnancy.
They said, oh, it doesn't look like there's a membrane, but it's too early to see anything, so don't freak out yet.
But these moms would soon discover they weren't alone in this medical journey.
They told me that there were actually 2 other moms that were having the same twins that I were, and that they were also going to be admitted into the same hospital on the same floor.
And coming up at 7 a.m., you'll hear the remarkable story of how these women helped each other and are now bonded for life. With your GMA First Look, I'm Eva Pilgrim, ABC News, New York.
Check. It's about 5:17, 46 degrees.
Let's look out there with TransGuide looking over at Florida's I-35. Things are moving in this area, and also at I-35 at New Braunfels Avenue. Things look pretty good so far. We're going to get a check-in with RJ Marcus very soon.
This year, take the time to melt into your holiday moments with Lindor. Irresistibly smooth chocolate from the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
Watch this. We get the team it up, know that we making them nervous. This in a battle, we can't have discussion. I'm talking about doing the verses. So make it a good one.
Mornings. Cough? Congestion?
I'm feeling better. All in one and done with new Mucinex Kickstart.
Headache?
Better now.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. It's comeback season.
Exactly, 5:20. What's happening on the roads, RJ?
Yeah, not much, guys. We're talking about all the major school districts. They're now on holiday break. Schertz-Cibolo, that one, they are going on break later on this week. So I was thinking about that. I don't know how I'd feel about that. If I was you get the extra week on the back end, but you're also kind of missing out on all the fun from the other school districts.
Yeah, it's like, do you want it leading up to Christmas or after? Yeah.
You want both.
Or you can take both.
Yeah.
Take the extra week.
I don't know.
You could. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit light, guys, on the roads throughout pretty much the rest of this week. Obviously, people maybe also, now officially out from work. We're obviously here, so we're going to help you guys get through any sort of traffic troubles that we see throughout the rest of our Monday morning. But for right now, things looking pretty good out there. 37 at Houston, traffic moving pretty good in this area. And we also have 37 at Hackberry, traffic moving pretty smooth right now. You see right now on our citywide map, everything looks pretty good right now. Live Oak, excuse me, you see we have in Live Oak are just kind of our normal construction taking place there, but for the most part, traffic moving pretty smooth. This was interesting here. So TxDOT for the past couple of weeks or so has been reporting that this exit here, 155A southbound 35 at South Alamo would reopen today. So I'll check with TxDOT a little bit later on in our morning, see if we could get a little bit more information from them. But right now on TxDOT's website, they are reporting that this will open later today. Obviously, this is a pretty big road when it comes to getting into King William and also the Southtown areas. But for right now, guys, things looking pretty good out there. Again, traffic moving pretty smooth in most of our city right now. I-10 at Isabela, traffic moving pretty good there as well. All right, Mike, it felt definitely a little bit crisper out there, a little bit cooler.
Yes, indeed.
Everything's looking outside right now.
Well, later, I'll give you a hint as far as later on today is going to look like what this did yesterday with those just intensely blue skies out there. We're going to start off with a great looking sunrise and plenty of sunshine all day long. A few high clouds will move in later on today. Beautiful view of the skyline downtown. This is from our I-10 410 camera out there. And throughout the rest of today, we are going to warm up fairly quickly. We're in the 40s right now, but we're going to be jumping up into the 50s and then already make it up to 65 degrees today at noon. So we'll be at or even a little bit above normal at noon, and then we're going to be topping off at 69 later on today, and then a good looking sunset tonight. But again, we will have a couple of extra clouds hanging around here. All right, humidity very low. This is why it got very cold yesterday morning, cold this morning, going to be chilly tomorrow. So it'll stay low today. Then watch what happens. The winds are going to be shifting around. This will be throughout the day tomorrow out of the southeast. And here comes the moisture coming back on in here. And that's really going to be the situation as we go on into the rest of the week. So dew point temperatures will continue to climb up here. And you'll pretty much notice it once we get into Thursday, Friday, as well as the weekend. And this is also when rain chances will start to work their way back on in here. So here's a satellite picture right now. Obviously nothing showing up on this picture at all. Got a little bit of rain out there to the west, and as we are talking about out here to the northeast, if you have any travel plans, you see all this lake effect snow coming on in here, which may slow things down a little bit. Chicago, big hubbub there around Detroit, and then of course in the northeastern corridor from, well, really D.C., New York, all the way up through Boston, up around there. So if anything coming out of there may be delayed. Now, as far as this week is concerned around the country, we've got that mess up there to the northeast, but the middle chunk of the week really doesn't look bad as far as any big weather systems moving on in here to create any sort of delays or anything like that. Wednesday, we may have a couple little sprinkles around here in the morning, and that's pretty much about it. And then we'll start to get some rain in the center part of the country by Thursday. So as far as this week is concerned with travel around the country, if you're doing any flying, again, not bad. 69 today, plenty of sunshine. We'll see some high clouds later on today, and then cloudy skies overnight, down to 41 degrees. So it's still going to be a seasonally cold morning tomorrow, up to 67, a lot more in the way of clouds. Then notice the difference with the low temperature Wednesday morning, 50. Humidity starts to come back in here. Highs are going to be staying in the low and even mid 70s going into this weekend. Winter officially begins Thursday night. Not going to feel like it. And as far as going into Christmas weekend, yeah, it's going to be a warm one. Christmas Eve, Sunday, 74 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and mild on Christmas Day as well.
Okay, but at least the travelers will enjoy the weather.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Time now, 5:25, 45 degrees.
Up next, how Apple customers may soon be able to get some cash back thanks to a class action lawsuit settlement.
Welcome back. Just about 5:28, Blue Origin preparing its first launch in more than a year. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has all the details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, Blue Origin's return to space. The company is sending its New Shepard rocket into space today, marking its first launch since last September when a rocket booster failed, prompting an investigation by the FAA. Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos and is competing in the space tourism industry with Virgin Galactic. You may be eligible for a slice of Apple's $25 million payout. People who use the company's family sharing feature could get up to $30 each from a lawsuit settlement. Apple's accused of misleading customers about what apps could be shared. The company denies any wrongdoing. And reports say Canada will announce all new cars made in the country will have to be zero emissions by 2035. The regulations could be made public this week. Similar plans in the U.S. were voted down by the House earlier this month. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Rhiannon Alley. Have a great day.
Fast approaching 5:29.
And Wednesday marks 2 years since Lena Kill was reported missing. Up next, why advocates for her family think someone has a key piece of information that could bring her home.
I grew up really shy, and I feel like the classroom was where I like thrived.
And ahead on GMSA at 6, we'll meet a graduate from UTSA who's ready to see more women just like her in the workforce here in the Alamo City. Back to late breaking news. Fire has burned through one home and has been threatening another. This is happening in the 2500 block of Schley Avenue, not far from Rigsby and Roland Road.
Katrina Weber is there live. And Katrina, was anyone hurt?
We have not heard anything about any injuries, although we are still waiting to get the official word from the battalion chief here. They've been quite busy. They knocked down the fire fairly quickly, but the smoke really hasn't quit. And you can still see firefighters inside this house spraying it with water, just making sure that they have those last embers out. Now, we did see them also spraying water on the house next door. We saw a little bit of smoke coming from the edge of that. So it looks like maybe this fire might have touched the house next door. There's also a carport in between with a vehicle, and that was the initial call that we heard, that it was a fire involving a vehicle and a carport. So it may have started there and spread to the house, but again, we have not heard the official word. We did see a family huddled outside, so they may either be neighbors in one of the houses to the sides or perhaps coming from this house. We're going to try to get all these answers taken care of, but again, no injuries as far as we know right now, and firefighters seem to have most of the work behind them, but they're still trying to make sure that this fire does not spark up again. Reporting live on the southeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. It is Monday, December 18th.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the beautiful weather this weekend. It was nice.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It was so great. And that little bit of a moon, that sliver moon over the weekend, which is the waxing crescent as of right now. Beautiful. We were out driving around Saturday evening looking at some of the Christmas lights around town. And today, oh, what a fantastic start. It just gets you in the spirit. 1 week from today, obviously, is Christmas, and it sure does feel like it right now, but it's not going to for the rest of the week. Just a little hint of what's to come. 43 right now. We're down close to a normal low temperature. Dew point stands at 36, so fairly dry air out there, so we can drop down a few more degrees. Now, we do have a bit of a breeze out here, and that's giving us a slight wind chill. We do have 38 degrees there in Comfort. Bulverde just hit 32 last hour, now at 33, but in your backyard, of course, it may be right at freezing or below. And we've got that hint of a wind chill here at the airport, so it feels like 39, and the wind chill's 34 right now at Hondo. Gorgeous day today. Nothing but sunshine for most all of the day. We'll start to see a few high clouds working their way in here later on this afternoon, and then they'll kind of start to thicken up later on tonight. 65 at noon, and we are going to be on the warm side of things, up to 5 degrees on average above normal later on today. Another cold start tomorrow. That's pretty much it then. It is not going to feel too much like Christmas throughout the rest of the week. Got some minor rain chances as well. We'll talk about that. And again, take a look ahead to Christmas weekend coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, anything going on out there, RJ?
No, Mike, definitely feels like a Monday out there for our drivers. I don't know if maybe, stayed out a little bit late. I know the Cowboys lost, the Spurs lost. So, I don't know, maybe just not feeling like getting up a little bit early today on a Monday. But as we take a look outside TransGuide, you see that our traffic is moving pretty good throughout the San Antonio area. See, we get one more here, 35 in New Braunfels traffic moving pretty smooth in both directions in that area. Again, a lot of green on our screen here. This is good. Only thing kind of monitoring right now is this ongoing sort of delays up in the Live Oak area by the Forum. But for the most part, things look pretty good out there. No major crashes or stalled vehicles kind of delaying any roadways right now. So that's good. Interesting, though, our inbound traffic times as we look here. Our northern communities here, things looking pretty good. 24 minutes from Bernie, 20 minutes from Boverde, and 34 minutes from New Braunfels. Now, Castroville, if you're heading in right now from Castroville to downtown San Antonio or the inner city parts of San Antonio, it's going to take you about 33 minutes. It's kind of been going back and forth from yellow to red and also Lavernia. It's pretty much our normal sort of traffic spots that we see throughout our entire morning. But again, things looking pretty good out there. Let me see if we can go back. One more look here, TransGuide, 37 at Southeast Military traffic moving pretty good in both directions there as well. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
Thank you, RJ. Wednesday marks 2 years since Lena Kill was reported missing. Now, police say she was last seen at a playground at the Villas del Cabo apartment complex. That is in the 9400 block of Fredericksburg Road. Despite several tips, investigators still haven't been able to find her. Advocates for the Kill family believe someone has a key piece of information that could bring Lena home.
This family has been waiting too long. And they really need some information on where their daughter is, and if you're able to help, I would say please do. This is a season of hope.
So we also have an age progression sketch probably online that shows what Kill would look like now. San Antonio Police and the FBI say they are looking for any clues. So if you have any information that could help, you are asked to call police at 210-224-STOP.
As of Sunday, it's now been 1 year since 27-year-old Rain Rice was shot and killed in a moving car. San Antonio police say she was in the car with her 2 young children, her husband, and 2 other adults. That night, they were driving on I-10 West before the upper and lower level split near downtown when someone in another vehicle fired a shot and hit her. Before the shooting, a dark SUV was seen driving west on Cesar Chavez at South Flores behind a white Hummer limousine. The family still has a $5,000 reward for anyone with information on her murder. Call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP. U.S. border officials announcing more changes today to address the migrant crisis on the southern border.
The new action comes as former President Trump faces scrutiny for some recent comments he made regarding his stance on immigration. And as ABC's Liz Landers reports, bipartisan talks in Washington on new border security measures seem to be making progress.
This morning, officials at the U.S.-Mexico border are temporarily suspending freight train crossings in El Paso and Eagle Pass, Texas, in order to redeploy resources elsewhere. It comes after authorities reportedly apprehended more than 4,000 migrants in the area yesterday alone. Temporary closures were also recently imposed at a port of entry in Arizona and at a pedestrian entrance in San Diego. Over the weekend, Senate negotiators failed to reach a deal on a framework for border security improvements, which Republicans are demanding as a condition to pass more funding for the wars in Israel and Ukraine. Republicans point to national security concerns at the southern border and the smuggling of drugs. A truck driver at a cargo facility in California just across the Mexican border was recently arrested, accused of carrying 3,000 pounds of meth and more than 500 pounds of cocaine inside packages of jalapeno paste. But Democrats say if the problem of illegal immigration was solved today, the illegal drug supply in the U.S. would be unaffected because they say the drugs mostly come through legal ports of entry.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
Former President Trump is facing criticism for his immigration rhetoric, speaking about, quote, blood purity, echoing Nazi slogans of World War II. Trump doubled down at a campaign event last night, saying the U.S. needs a cleanup.
We will begin, and we have no choice, the largest deportation operation in American history.
One of Trump's rivals in the Republican race, Chris Christie, blasted the former president.
He's disgusting. And what he's doing is dog whistling to Americans who feel absolutely under stress and strain from the economy and from the conflicts around the world.
In Washington, Liz Landers, ABC News.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is on a visit to Israel today to meet with that country's senior military leaders. They're expected to discuss the next phase in the war with Hamas as Israel faces growing calls from other allies to negotiate another ceasefire. After Israeli forces accidentally killed 3 hostages, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now hinting that hostage talks could be back on. But Hamas says there won't be any negotiations until the fighting stops. Here at home, many locations are receiving bomb threats, including a synagogue in Alabama that had to be evacuated during services.
Officials at Arlington National Cemetery say workers will remove a Confederate memorial at the site this week. This will comply with the Defense Department order to remove Confederate symbols from U.S. military facilities. The Pentagon issued that order last year. 40 Republican members of Congress have called on the Pentagon to suspend the action. The memorial set to have a new resting place in New Market Battlefield State Park in the Shenandoah Valley.
541, 46 degrees.
And if you're trying to start 2024 on a good note with your money, up next, why a local investment specialist says a simple family budget could be the first step.
Outside with live cam. Yeah, chilly again this morning as we close in on the first day of winter coming up in the next week. Beautiful shot looking back towards downtown. Welcome back, 544. When it comes to finances, 2023 has been a tough year for a lot of families.
One of the most prevalent issues, inflation. And to help explain the issue and what next year could bring, Mac Dillon with Victory Capital joined Leading SA this weekend.
Yes, Monique Dillon with Victory Capital joined us. We talked about a lot. We talk about inflation. We talk about interest rates. We talk about the Federal Reserve really extensively through the course of our show. So Monique joined us and we broke it all down. We talked about how, yes, interest rates are used to fight inflation, but they can also have a different impact for families. We also talked about ways that families could do their own part. You out there who are watching, how you can fight inflation with a budget or even a savings account. Here's a bit of our conversation.
You know, I always talk about it's important, particularly like this time of year, the end of the year and the new year is about to begin. Sit down and create a family budget. It's so important to know and have a plan on where you're going to spend your money and where money's coming in, especially when the cost of goods is going up. So your groceries are costing more, any other clothing's costing more. Everything you think about is costing more than it did probably a couple of years ago. So you have to sit down and say, where am I going to actually spend that money?
We also talked about how 2023 was a very volatile year and what to look out for next year. Comments, questions, concerns, you can check out the whole interview right now. Just head to the Leading SA section of KSAT.com. Of course, we have Leading SA every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. So, guys, we'll see you next Sunday. Back to you.
546, 46 degrees.
Let's look out there with TransGuide. Things looked good earlier and still moving right now. They're at I-37 at Houston. We're going to get another check-in with RJ Marquez in just a minute.
5:49 now. Welcome back. And it definitely feels like a Monday morning on our roads right now. A lot of people getting a late start. Obviously, a lot of major school districts are out for the holiday break. So that's good news if you are headed out right now. So we take a look at TransGuide traffic cameras there. You see Encino Rio 281 traffic moving pretty smooth in both directions there. So that's basically what we're going to look at our maps here. A lot of green on our screen. Again, no major delays, no major construction delays as well. So that's good news. I believe that maybe TxDOT kind of scaling back a little bit on some of the construction in some areas, but that is not the case on the northwest side. Again, they have just announced another round of closures in this area here. What you're looking at is La Cantera at John P. So basically right there, the shops at La Cantera, they just announced that they're going to have these turnaround closures in both directions throughout the rest of this week. So this is that ongoing construction that people out there have been seeing for months now. Obviously, this is something that a lot of our drivers in that area are dealing with, and this is 24 hours a day, so there is no set time on these. Again, turnarounds in both directions going to be closed there for the rest of this week. And Guys, I was out there actually because we had to get something at those shops at La Cantera, and I was like, yeah, online shopping, that's just the best way to go.
Well, yes and no at this point, because some orders are being delayed. Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, it was a madhouse out there. With all the construction, amount of people.
So you braved the crowds for a hot minute.
Yep, we did.
Okay.
We had to.
I don't know. I was like, I used to think that was fun to brave the crowds, but I don't know, not so much anymore.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
If you can really get in the mood and just okay, expect it. So.
True. If you're out to, enjoy
or
the crowd.
Or just shop early. So, all right, take a look outside. And this is the that beautiful crescent moon we were talking about last half hour. And it is the waxing crescent. It's going to be full on the 27th. So, what would that be? Next Wednesday. It's going to be a full week from Wednesday. Beautiful picture there. Yeah, great moon gazing weather over the weekend. And then got to take a sneak peek from 1 week to today, up to 1 week from today, I should say. Pardon me. A couple of showers around here Christmas Eve as well as on Christmas Day. It is going to be very, very warm, mid-70s on Sunday on Christmas Eve, and we're looking at upper 60s, right around 70, still on average, anywhere from 5-6 degrees above the normal temperature, kind of across the board for high temperatures, and low temperatures are going to be very mild as well. Here's the reason for it. We've got this nice northwesterly flow right now, and that's what brought in drier air. That's what's allowing temperatures to drop down in the morning, warm up nicely in the afternoon. Then that all shifts off to the east. We get this bit of a trying to get a ridge building on in here. A lot of moisture being pumped in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's why we start to see high clouds later on today, and then the clouds thicken up and stick around all the way going in through the rest of the week. And that low out there, it's one of those cutoff lows that just kind of has a mind of its own. That's going to continue to pump in all the moisture around here. We'll have small chances for some rain. And as this thing approaches, now, again, it depends on how close it gets, like the last couple of cutoff lows around here. Remember, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, we were looking forward to a fairly decent rain chance. That was on last Friday, and then didn't really materialize into a lot. But anyway, this will keep us with a lot of clouds around here, keep us mild, and a couple of showers going into, like I said, the weekend as well as Monday. Then it will pull a front through here, so that's going to try and cool things down just a bit as we go into the middle of next week. A lot of clear skies out there right now, an absolutely gorgeous morning and a gorgeous day. We will stay steady, drop a few degrees over the next couple of hours. 65 today at noon, and then a high temperature makes it up to 69 later on today. So over the next 7 days, then we're still going to be well above normal as far as the high temperatures are concerned. Not only today, tomorrow, low temperatures right where they should be today, tomorrow. Then that all changes as the humidity comes back on in here. So that's going to hold us in the low, mid, upper 50s, 60 for low temperatures. Highs get up into the 70s then. Plenty of clouds, couple of showers here and there, just one or two of them. Winter officially begins Thursday night. You do the math. It's not going to feel like it at all. So we're going to be 5-10 degrees above normal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shorts for Christmas, I guess.
Yeah, basically. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
5:53, 45 degrees.
Let's look at your winning lotto numbers. Pick 3, 7, 6, 5, Fireball 7. Daily 4, 5, 6, 0, 5, Fireball 3.
Cash 5 numbers 11, 17, 27, 28, 32. Lotto Texas 11, 24, 41, 43, 46, 47. And Powerball 3, 9, 10, 20, 62. Powerball 25. Power Play 3. Ahead the next hour, GMSA, one of our own from San Antonio heading to Food Network. We'll let you know when you can catch her in the kitchen. Plus,
everyone doesn't have the same path, and everyone doesn't have to go with the path people tell them.
We'll meet a graduate from UTSA who's working to help black women in education and beyond. And Google released the top searches people around the Alamo City looked up this year. The results may surprise you. We'll take a look at all this and so much more in our next hour. As we go to break, we're expecting lighter traffic as winter break has begun for most students in the Alamo City area.
Good morning. Let's look out there with live cam. We're starting off cold in the 40s again, but we're expecting things to warm up nicely.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning to you. Hope you had an awesome weekend. It is time to rise and shine at 6 a.m. on your Monday, December 18th.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we hope you had a good weekend. And for a lot of kiddos out there, they're off, but there's some still in school this week.
Yeah, just a few out there for sure, but some folks get to sleep in. Nonetheless, the rest of us have to get up and get going. Mike Ostrage is here with our Monday forecast.
If you do have to head out this morning, you need a jacket, and then you definitely won't need it this afternoon, like was the case yesterday. And on Saturday, we're going to be seeing 25, 30-degree increases in temperatures across the board from the low to the high later on today. Again, a beautiful view of the skyline, and this is the view from the I-10-410 camera. We're back down to freezing right now at Bulverde, 41 at the airport, upper 30s, mid to upper 30s, parts of the hill country, 44 at Randolph right now. Little bit of a breeze in places. Most everybody doesn't have much of a breeze, and that's why temperatures are allowed to drop down to, say, freezing in Bulverde. But that bit of a breeze out there at the airport makes it feel like 38 degrees right now. 34 is the wind chill over there in Hondo. And as far as the allergens, mold and mountain cedar are both on the low side. Throughout the rest of today, temperatures will, again, drop down another degree or so and then warm up very quickly again. So already by noon, we are going to be up to 65 degrees. And then add to that, we top off at 69. Sunshine throughout most all of the first portion of the day, and then we see a few high clouds move on in here later on today. But again, just fantastic looking. This will be the prettiest day of the week, and the morning tomorrow will also be on the cooler side, but then that's it as far as those nice, chilly, crisp mornings. Things are definitely going to be changing as we head into the rest of the week and going into Christmas weekend. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Traffic Authority, RJ, what's going on, sir?
All right, Mike. Yeah, been smooth sailing for the most part here. As Mark mentioned, maybe some people kind of sleeping in a little bit. Starting to see a little bit more people out on the roads right now, but no major incidents or crashes right now to let you know about. As you take a look at TransGuide real quick there behind me, 35 at Florida Street. You can see traffic moving pretty good in both directions there at 35 New Braunfels as well. We do have one incident to let you know about right now. This is a stalled vehicle being reported northbound lanes at Laredo Street, so people may be coming in from Highway 90, maybe that I-10 area up to downtown. This might be something that we're going to kind of keep an eye on here in just a little bit. I checked the camera just a little while ago. It does not appear to be causing any major delays right now. So if you are headed out of town right now to any of our surrounding communities, here's kind of what we're looking at in terms of travel times. It's going to be about 25 minutes to get out to Livernia, 25 Floresville, and 25 if you have to head south to Pleasanton as well. 19 for our folks that are heading out to Lytle this morning. So not too bad out there right now on the roads. But again, expected to pick up a little bit more despite the fact that our major school districts are out for the holiday break. But that is all good news out there right now. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, RJ. Well, she was 22 years old and expecting her first child when her life changed suddenly as she was hit by an alleged drunk driver.
Reina Elizondo suffered many injuries, including a brain injury, and her baby was born with disabilities due to the trauma that she sustained.
She's sharing her survival story with KSAT's Erica Hernandez and her message to anybody thinking about getting behind the wheel this holiday season.
I don't remember a lot of stuff now. I'm having problems with my vision. I can't focus and I see blurry. I have headaches. A lot.
Reina Elizondo doesn't remember January 31st of this year. She was passing through near the intersection of Nogalitos and Zarzamora when she was struck by an alleged drunk driver. At the time, 10 weeks pregnant, she was rushed to BAMC where she would spend 3 months recovering from multiple injuries.
6 or 7 rib fractures, 9 dental fractures, broken leg, broken hand, 6-inch laceration to the left side of her head. She also had lacerations to her kidney, liver, spleen.
Despite the trauma, she was able to carry her baby almost full term, but her baby girl wasn't expected to survive because of numerous disabilities. 5 months later, and she is now what Reina calls her miracle baby.
She wasn't expected to survive. You're looking at a miracle, both of them are miracles.
Reina is still recovering and is going through many physical therapies. Her life forever changed. Her and her mother want anybody thinking about getting behind the wheel after drinking to please think twice.
Not to drink and drive, get an Uber or ride share or Lyft or ask somebody to pick you up.
I never thought this was gonna hit home when it did.
And for the person who is alleged to have caused the accident,
But I forgive you, and Jesus loves you, and he forgives you too.
That alleged drunk driver, Mark Walton, was arrested and charged with intoxication, assault, and failure to stop and render aid. His next court date is scheduled for February of next year. If he is found guilty, he faces up to 20 years in prison. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
In your Texas Morning headlines, a manhunt is underway for 39-year-old Robert Yancey Jr. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice says he escaped over the weekend from a prison unit about an hour south of Houston. He was last seen yesterday afternoon wearing a black beanie and a sweater and was driving a white Nissan Versa. A vehicle linked to Yancey was found in Victoria County. He wasn't in the car, but the woman inside was taken into custody for an outstanding warrant. Now here is the license plate of that white Nissan. Investigators say he's in right now. It is DNR 9145. Police say if you see him, do not approach him. Instead, call 911 immediately.
A former Texas state trooper has been sentenced to 18 months in federal prison for lying to the FBI about his father's drug trafficking operation. Pablo Talavera Jr. served in Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star. The FBI says in April of 2019, his father was kidnapped by drug smugglers after the government seized $500,000 in drug money. 2 months later, the FBI started investigating the family. The trooper initially denied knowing anything about his father's criminal activities. He later admitted this was a lie. According to federal prosecutors, he also admitted that he helped his father by using his position to run license plate, quote, believed to be those of law enforcement, end quote. The FBI says he also protected drug shipments and gave his father sensitive law enforcement information.
The Biden administration wants Congress to provide more funds for Ukraine and Israel, but Republicans want our southern border to be fixed first. CNN's John Lawrence explains what both sides are saying.
Democrats and Republicans in Congress are working to come to terms on the U.S.'s border before the holiday break, and time is running short.
They understand that the border is broken, that glass ceiling has been broken, and we've got to stop this dangerous immigration that we have coming to our country from all over the world.
President Joe Biden says providing more funds for Ukraine's war against Russia is necessary to some extent because of the U.S.'s own national security.
For us to fail to come together and support Ukraine in their ongoing fight for freedom against Russian aggression would be a huge gift to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and Hamas.
Republicans say they won't budge on the Ukraine support unless changes are made to the immigration process.
We're helping Israel, and jihadist groups want to hit us to punish us for helping Israel. I will not help Ukraine, Taiwan, or Israel until we secure a border that's been obliterated.
Among the proposed changes discussed, increasing the credible fear standard for asylum seekers and boosting the use of a fast-track deportation procedure.
People in this country are furious at this open border crisis. That's why it's so imperative that the Senate and the House work with the president to come up with a national security package that puts the country above everything else.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
15 Republican senators are calling for a special conference in January to discuss the ongoing border talks.
Well, speaking of the border, a large-scale migrant shelter is opening in El Paso to help ease the burden at the border. The Border Servant Corps is opening up a migrant shelter at El Paso in East El Paso, near the airport. The group has already been working with the organization Annunciation House and the city of El Paso by helping take migrants to shelters and airports, but was asked by the city to expand their services and open a permanent shelter space.
There will be spaces for welcome, for intake. We'll have spaces where legal providers can come in and provide assistance to our guests.
The shelter will have dorms of different sizes to accommodate for families in different circumstances. The group is looking to provide relief for the whole state of Texas. U.S. Customs and Border Protection announcing it will temporarily suspend operations at the International Railway crossing in both Eagle Pass and El Paso. The agency says the temporary closing will allow Border Patrol agents to focus more on processing migrants who have already entered the country. More than 4,000 migrants crossed into Texas yesterday alone.
Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones is asking the families of the Sandy Hook school shooting to accept a small fraction of the $1.5 billion of debt he owes them. The InfoWars host declared bankruptcy after being ordered to pay that money and damages to several of the families that lost loved ones after he made false claims that the 2012 school shooting was a hoax. Jones is now proposing a settlement that would guarantee those families at least $5.5 million for the next decade. An attorney representing some of the families says they're examining that proposal.
A study from a law firm in Louisiana shows Texas ranks third in the most dragged out federal lawsuits in the country. The firm's personal injury lawyers looked at 12 months of data across 13,000 suits from the moment a case was filed to when it concluded in court. Behind Louisiana and Idaho, it takes Texas at least 13 months on average for a federal civil lawsuit to be completed. The study shows the Lone Star State also takes at least a year to fully process a civil suit. Right now, 10 minutes past the hour on your Monday morning, 47 degrees.
The Alamo City is heading to Food Network's Kids Baking Championship. That's ahead in GMSA at 6.
Is San Antonio the new city of love? Well, a new study from Wallet Hub that might just give you your heart, oh, give you heart eyes.
Yeah,
like the emoji.
The emoji.
Okay. Sorry, after the break.
Like a cartoon.
Okay.
There you go. Looking outside, we have lovely weather today. Well, at least later this afternoon it'll be nice. Right now it's kind of cold, 47 degrees.